Dwayne Aristode spoke a lot last week about the 2025 season, but not nearly enough people are talking about him. We're going to just do that today on the AZ Wildcats Podcast. In 30 seconds, don't you go anywhere.
Welcome on in, guys, to the AZ Wildcats Podcast. I'm your host, Damon Fairall. That is my guy, Kevin Thomas, and we are here in downtown Phoenix at PHNX HQ2. About to say goodbye, Kevin. About to say goodbye to the old HQ2 here as we prepare for our move to HQ3. What is it? Is it next week? The week after?
Espo actually just said this month.
This month. Excited for that. Gonna have some brand new studio space, and we're excited to show all of you guys what we got going on over here at PHNX Sports. The one thing I will miss, though, Kevin, is I'm gonna miss that big mural right there. Wish we could just shave it off the wall and take it with us, huh?
I heard that, you know, we're maybe getting someone that can do that just for us. You know what I mean? I think maybe it might be in the lines of a Ocean's 11 type of thing. You go out and get a specialist that can do something like that for you. Shave just a quarter inch off of the wall. You know, you go out and get someone, you don't know their skill set to the fullest, but they can do one specific thing for you. And that's the type of power that we bring here at PHNX. You know what I mean?
That's the team that we've assembled to do our moving, the experts in moving big equipment. We're bringing them on as well. It's going to be a whole gang of it, Kevin, but definitely excited to show you guys our new space, as well as talk a little bit about the Arizona Wildcats and what we got going on in our world, which is quite a bit, Kevin. We got some Arizona basketball stuff to cover. Of course, Dwayne Aristode talked on Friday. If you watched our Saturday show, you know that we decided to punt on that and talk about it today. So here we are, ready to talk about Dwayne Aristode and the prospect that he is and what he could bring to the Arizona roster next season. But we also got some, of course, news and notes, as we always do, to keep you guys the most updated that we possibly can on what's going on in Arizona athletics. But first off, Kevin, I know you had a little bit of a rough one yesterday. Do you want to tell the people at home what happened regarding your scuffle with a employee of a particular, big box store?
There was no scuffle. There was no altercation.
Kevin got into a fist fight.
No, this is not true. These are lies
with the
that Damon
receipt
is telling. I was annoyed by all I'll say on the topic is I feel like, as you, me, everybody watching this stream, we're the little guys in this society. You know what I mean? So I feel like
speak for yourself, man.
You shouldn't be sticking up for the big billionaire corporations as much as you possibly can.
That's
especially if you're at an older age, because I feel like you should be trying to live your life to the fullest. And I will leave that topic at that. You know what I mean, Damon? I don't want to rehash my anger from last night. I was just trying to buy some damn water. You know what I'm saying? No, I didn't get arrested, mother. I did not get arrested.
Kevin did, in fact, get arrested. He didn't want to tell you, June, unfortunately. I don't know why. I mean, maybe he's just trying not to worry you, but I actually had to go pick Kevin up from the slammer. I had to walk up. I had to pay bonds. It was a whole thing. But thankfully, our sweet baby boy Kevin he's doing okay now. Yeah, Kevin, I didn't know you had that in you.
I didn't know either. I guess until this moment. You
explained the story to me, the actual real story, and you didn't get fired up enough, in my opinion.
No,
and I know that's a shock coming from me. But Kevin definally just kind of, I feel like you let it stew. You were confused. You were in the moment.
Yeah, I was dumbfounded.
And then afterwards, you were sitting there and you were like, man, what just happened?
Yeah.
Whereas I would have just immediately just been like, just let the chopper sink. You know what I mean? Just let it fly.
No, definitely at the big box store, letting the chopper sing. But look, I'm gonna try to swing this back into Dwayne Aristode stuff here. I'm gonna try to swing this back into Dwayne Aristode. Yeah, I'm not blaming you for me getting allegedly arrested.
Yeah, notable, perennial arrested man, Damon Fairall. Dirty criminal record over here.
Happy Monday, everyone. You know what I mean? And
It is a happy Monday.
I feel like sometimes when things happen that dumbfound you and then later you get angry about it, it can go one of two ways. You can either get arrested like I did yesterday, or you could be like Dwayne Aristode and it can motivate you. You know what I mean? Like Dwayne Aristode knows that people should be talking about him more. Dwayne Aristode knows people should be putting more respect on his game. And I think there's been a while of just like, why is this the case? And, Dwayne Aristode did speak to media last Friday, his first actual real appearance in front of Arizona media, Damon, and we do have a bunch of clips from that. And he started it off. I didn't know this. Aristode, apparently he can speak a ton of languages, but one of the languages is comedy. Because when they asked him why Arizona, the guy had a joke. Here's what Dwayne Aristode had to say about why he chose Arizona.
Why did you decide to come here, and how's it been so far?
I came here because of the hot weather. Well, I like Coach Lloyd. I like Murph. I think they did a great job in the years they've been here so far. And also I just trust their culture and, their plan they have for me. I've been watching Arizona basketball for a while now, so I think it just fits together that I came here. My family thought the same way, so yeah.
Arizona is a global brand, Kevin. I know Dwayne Aristode played some high school hoops here, but he's obviously a foreign-born player. And he said, I've been watching Arizona for a while now. And I feel like a lot of people look at Luka being like, oh, I hear it's good there. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of the top international prospects. I feel like a place like Arizona is very appealing because it's a national brand. It's kind of, there's almost like a swag and a style that comes with playing for the Wildcats. And also, there's been a good amount of Europeans that have played here over the years, that foreign-born players that have made their mark. And now under Tommy Lloyd, that's been taken up to an entirely new level, right? Because he's been known as like the, foreign recruiter in college basketball before he made his way over to Tucson. And so I feel like you're seeing that here. Dwayne Aristode, kind of a culmination of that, right? Like you have that elite blue chipper foreign-born prospect, and you combine that with the national brand like Arizona, an international brand like Arizona, and Tommy Lloyd, the foreign-born player recruiter, and it's just a perfect match for this team. And as you said, he brings a little bit of funny chops at the top of the video as well.
Yeah, no, the comedic timing was certainly there between because the weather is awesome, and then. Nah, just kidding. Let me get into my real answer. I can't wait for more comedic stylings from Dwayne Aristode to see what kind of jokes he can write throughout the year. But yeah, like you said, it is a global brand. I think he's not the only recruit in this class that has talked about the importance of that brand, right? CD Gay and Mobile Mawut both noted the idea that, hey, we've been watching Tommy Lloyd, we've been watching Arizona for a while now, and we know that if you're coming to the States to play in the pros, you got to go through Arizona to get there, and that is one of the best ways to get there. And I think that is a good testament to the brand that Tommy Lloyd has undertaken, but also is looking to take into the next X amount of years and advance the brand even further than it's ever been possibly before. And those are his goals, right? So, but I think when we're talking about this kind of stuff, like it's important to teach incoming people like the importance of the program. The significance it holds in the community, right? And like you and I have spoken about Evan Nelson's role on this team, and however big the role on the court is going to be, the role off the court is arguably even more important because this roster is loaded, right? And I don't mean that to diminish Evan Nelson's game, but I say what he can bring off the court can really change things for Arizona, right? He can be that connector between the fan base and the team in a way of saying like, this is what it really means to be from Tucson and play for this team. And I've wanted this for my whole life. Like the guy played at Harvard and he's coming back out west to play for Arizona, and I think
for sure
it shows the importance of that. Jaden Bradley being able to, communicate his veteran leadership to this team, the ability he has to communicate that same level of significance. Tobe Awaka, even to a lesser extent, can do that. Dwayne Aristode spoke to his relationship with the veterans on this team and how they're kind of teaching him the ropes, so to speak, in Tucson.
Yes, sir. I think JB, Deli, Tobe, Evan, even though he is his first year, but he's from here. I think the senior guys, they helped me a lot. Just helping me throughout drills, keeping my head up when I make mistakes, just being a veteran to me, teaching me the things a freshman needs to know, coming to campus, So, I'm blessed to have them as teammates. I look forward to having a great season.
He strikes me as a guy who truly does want that kind of that leadership in his life and in, his career, right? Because it feels like, like he's very about his basketball. You know what I mean? Like that's what I got from watching these Dwayne Aristode clips. And, obviously I feel like you'll feel that more as we continue on here. But that answer kind of displays that for me. Like, he's not here, looking to just kind of go through the motions, play a year of college basketball and find his way in the NBA. He's here to genuinely develop and get better. And it's almost kind of like a Carter Bryant in that regard, right? Like where this is, maybe he could have been the man somewhere else. It would be a little bit easier path to playing time. But I think you see that the desire to play at the highest level and to compete at the highest level from a guy like Dwayne Aristode.
Yeah, no, you speak to that maturity, like you well, I mean, you're not, I mean, what are you reacting to, Damon, by chance? What would you like to,
just thinking
would it be Erica's comments?
Thinking about being 30, thinking about how I'm closer to 30 than I am 20 right now. Brutal.
Damn. Yeah, that's tough.
And that's rich coming from Max. I mean, Max is literally the oldest guy we have here at PHNX Sports. I think Max is like 43 years old. And somehow he's the one throwing shots about it shows.
Yeah.
Granted, I will say Max looked pretty good for 43.
Yeah, I mean, Sunday League gold boot, I think, at the oldest Sunday League gold boot winner of all time, I think. I don't know. They're saying something like that. But anyway, back to Dwayne Aristode, right? He does have that level of maturity, I think, to his game, it seems. And I know we kind of poked jokes about him kind of doing the LeBron thing about where you like read you hold the page open to the 30th page of the book and be like, this is a great book. This is my favorite book. When he's like, yeah, my favorite book of all time. MJ had a book. I think he had a book or something. I read that. But like, he really does seem to be like a mature thinker about the way he attacks his game and his development, and coming to Arizona and being a part of this freshman class that has a chance to really make some noise, not only in the Big 12, but as a country, or in the country as a whole, I think kind of shows his desire to win. He's competed against some of the best players in the world at times during his career already, right? And I think, when you bring that to Arizona, it does bring a level of poise. It brings a level of experience that I think he's not your average freshman, is what I'm trying to get at. Mentally, he's not your average freshman, and he has a chip on his shoulder, right? And I think that's not something that a lot of elite level freshmen can say coming into their first season of college basketball. Having a chip on their shoulder when you're already one of the highest ranked prospects in the country is kind of hard to do. But it's been given to him through people underrating him. It's been given to him through people, sleeping on him for somewhat of a valid reason of him being out for a while with that lower leg injury and him not being able to really play at his 100% for a while.
Yeah.
I guess we should probably get into that injury now, because that is a huge part of his story. He had that lower leg injury that kept him out for practically a whole year, and he played on it during AAU. And I'm just going to let him tell his own story. This is Dwayne Aristode talking about his injury and also what he learned throughout the process of recovering from this injury and how it changed his mindset.
So, I had a lower leg injury, cost me my senior year. I was playing on it the whole AU summer. So, it was nagging. It was, hard to deal with. But, I'm good now, so ready to play.
Is it anything similar to what Mo had to deal with?
It's a little different, yeah.
But, you feel everything like...
Yeah, I feel great now.
Yeah. Did it take a little time, to where you're worried that it could get worse or you could re-injure it? No?
Not at all. So, first of all, you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about yourself in the deepest times. And how meaningful this really is, playing in the D1 basketball. But first one, in high school, having the opportunity to play a high-level basketball for Coach Smith, playing in the EYBL Scholastic League, just putting everything in perspective. It just puts everything in perspective, how blessed I am, to be here in general, and just when you injure like that for a long time, all the hard work you put in, you start thinking about that. But like that also motivated me even more. It pissed me off in a good way. Yeah, that's what it did.
The man's mad, and the man's ready to prove himself. And I think it's like, it's that level of you know, we I think we kind of make up. You and I kind of superimpose the chip on Koa Peat's shoulder for him because we feel like he's underrated, but ultimately he's one of the most decorated high school players of all time, and I'm sure that he doesn't feel underrated. I'm sure if anything, he feels like he's ready to prove that he is the best in the country, as he already feels. But if you're Dwayne Aristode, the chip on the shoulder is real. Like it's not just you and I talking about does he feel like he has something to prove. It's tangible. It's there. You could reach out and touch the damn chip on his shoulder. It's a homemade tortilla chip from a local ranch market. It's fire and it's huge, right? But like the thing about that is when you have a player like that, when you combine it with his poise, when you combine it with his focus and his physical frame, the guy's ready for college basketball. I'm excited to watch him play, and I think the motivation throughout this injury process that he alluded to there, I think is really going to show in his development in his freshman year at Arizona. Now, am I saying that he's going to come out game one and look like, you know, a guy that's going to drop 25 and 8? No, I don't think so. You know, I don't think that's what's really going to happen. But I do think he's going to be an impact player day one for Arizona basketball. And you and I already alluded to the ways in which he could kind of be an X factor for this upcoming year's team with that give me the ball in the dying moments of the game kind of mentality. He wants those big moments. He wants to be a part of those big moments. And I think it's, like I said, why he could be a huge X factor for Arizona this upcoming season.
Honestly, I'll push back on that a little bit. I don't know if I think of him as an X factor because of wanting the ball late in games, because I don't know if I want him with the ball in his hands late in games. Just given the other players that we have on this team, the other experience that we have on this team, and just kind of my premonition going in that Brayden, Burries, and Koa Peat will probably be better suited for those moments with the ball in their hands. But that being said, that'll play itself out on the floor.
And for the record, I'm not saying that I want him taking those shots, but I'm saying you want guys that want that.
Yeah.
That's more so what I was getting at.
I see him as the X factor in terms of like, we know he has the frame and the athleticism, and we know he has the mentality for it. But if he can truly put it together in his freshman season at Arizona, at a position where the Wildcats are currently probably their weakest on paper, right? I mean, I think that's fair to say. Like, you know, pretty much all the rest of the positions other than center are, I'd say you write them in Sharpie. The center spot, you feel comfortable with two guys pretty much playing equal minutes, which is I'm pretty sure what we're going to see this season. But that small forward position is so wide open. And if he can just grab it full on and just take it, right? Like that would be game-changing for this team. I think that makes you from, you know, one of the most talented rosters in the country with an elite coach in Tommy Lloyd that I'm certain will put together a lot of wins like we do every season under Tommy Lloyd. But I think that puts you into the echelon of like truly the national championship caliber teams. If Dwayne Aristode or even Ivan Kurchenkov or ADO, if any of them make a leap / show up better than what you maybe projected them being, that could be just so massive for this team. And I do think that Dwayne Aristode is like, you're going to see the flash plays from moment one, as you're talking about. Like it's those, you're going to see his potential early, in my opinion. You're going to see impact making. How much can he do that? Can he give you a little bit more than what Carter Bryant gave you last year? I think that's going to be important. Like, that's not to say that Carter Bryant didn't provide a lot. I just think that we all know that there was so much more left on the table from a Carter Bryant perspective of like what he truly could have done for Arizona. And that's a little bit on Tommy and the way that I think that we slow cooked him. But also I think Carter would tell you himself that that's probably was best for what his career was in that moment. Can Dwayne Aristode just be a little bit more ready to go from day one? And
I'm glad you brought up Carter Bryant and the rotations for Tommy Lloyd last season, because I was thinking to myself mentally as you were talking about that. What I think is, and like you said, I think maybe I misplaced the X factor primary reasoning on one explanation of why I think he could be an X factor, but that's not necessarily the whole case. And I think you outlined the rest of the case for it, right? But I think that if Dwayne Aristode, like you alluded to, and the way I'm going to word it is, if he can force Tommy Lloyd to start him, that is great for Arizona basketball. Because I think where Carter Bryant lacked at times last year is the fans were calling for him to start. You know, like people want Carter Bryant on the court more, but he never necessarily forced Coach Lloyd's hand. Like his inconsistent production, his lapses on defense at times, just looking like a freshman out there from time to time, doesn't really force your coach to give you more minutes, right? Especially if you have Exactly. And especially if you have the aspirations in a season that Arizona basketball does, you're not going to really allow a freshman to play you out of well, not a quarter, but play you out of a stretch of a game, right? If you can't afford that. And so I think if Dwayne Aristode can be put together enough as a freshman coming in to force Tommy Lloyd to start him, I think that bodes really well for Arizona basketball, because last year Carter Bryant could never put together enough consistent production. He would put together consistent flashes, but he wouldn't put together consistent production on both ends to force Tommy Lloyd to play him more. If anything, there were times where Tommy Lloyd clearly wanted him out there, but he couldn't keep him out there for as long as maybe he wanted to. So I think if Dwayne Aristode day one can be a little bit less of a development piece than Carter Bryant was day one, that bodes incredibly well for Arizona's wing position specifically. Because the frame-wise, he's more ready than Carter Bryant day one, right? I think,
he's taller,
but I also think he's a bit more like filled out for the time of year that we're talking about here compared to where Carter Bryant was last year. And that really excites me as well, because I think, like we've already alluded to, I think this Arizona team upcoming is going to play incredibly physical. And so I hope that he fits right in, and I hope that his play is of a high enough level to where he forces Tommy Lloyd to put him in that starting lineup, Damon. We're going to get more into Dwayne Aristode's play style, what he says himself that he can bring to the game after this quick break here on the AZ Wildcats podcast. Don't you go anywhere. And Damon, I mean, you alluded to it. You bailed me out this past weekend, and that put a little bit of a hole in your pocket, and you're going to have to budget to get out of that hole. And our friends at Monarch Money, they can help you get out of any hole that you're in by learning the tools of budgeting. They can help you manage all your finances. They're pretty much like a personal CFO, if you will. And that helps you live that, executive lifestyle that maybe you want to live if you save your money. To help you track your spending. They make sure that if you have any recurring purchases from recurring vendors that you know about it. They'll notify you of any new subscriptions that are popping up in your ledger there. And if you don't believe me, believe the damn Wall Street Journal, because they were named Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. And if you don't believe the Wall Street Journal or Kevo Post, listen to the top recommended personal finance app by users and experts with over 30,000 five-star reviews. Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Use code PHNX at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year of the service. That's 50% off your first 12 months of monarchmoney.com with promo code PHNX.
Half off for a year is an unbelievable deal. I'm gonna have to jump on that, because being a friend of Kevin's, not cheap these days. Not cheap these days. I'll tell you what is cheap though: branded bills, headwear, and apparel. And it is very aptly priced, Kevin, but it's the best quality product that you're gonna find out there on the market, whether it's a trucker, a fitted, a snapback, a beanie, even a t-shirt. Branded Bills has you covered with the ultimate custom headwear and apparel. And on top of it, they got the campus collection, which I am, of course, rocking right now. I got that U of A hat with the state of Arizona outline on it. Just a beautiful hat. Feels like I'm not really wearing a hat right now, Kevin. That's how comfortable it is. Really is. When Kevin and I talk about how comfortable these hats are, we mean it. Like, they are the single most comfortable hats I have ever put on. And it is all thanks to our friends at Branded Bills. Over 40 partnerships with different universities, but we only care about one. Check out the campus collection. They got Arizona Wildcats stuff up the wazoo, and it is beautiful to look at. Local company out of Mesa, Arizona. They love their Wildcats, and we love supporting them as well. Head to brandedbills.com. Use code BBPHNX for 15% off your first order.
And like I said, we're going to let Dwayne Aristode speak for himself. So here's what Dwayne Aristode had to say about what his play style is and what he can bring to the court next season.
So I think I'm a guy that can do a lot of things. I can shoot the ball very well. I'm very athletic. I can rebound the ball. I can make great plays. I have a little bit of a 1v1 game, but I think I'm a great team player as well. A guy that supports his teammates, and just is willing to do everything to win the game.
Okay. Walk with me here for a second, because that was a little bit of athlete talk, right? I'm going to work hard with my teammates to facilitate winning, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to win, right? That is kind of athlete talk, not really too much there of substance. But I think when you combine this blue chip freshman talking like that, talking about finding his success within the team scheme, the team flow of offense and defense, and you pair it with another guy like Peat, who we heard at Team USA trials around some of the most elite talent in the country, talking about I really don't care about my production as long as I'm getting my production within the flow of the team and the flow of the offense. It feels like Tommy Lloyd is putting together a team of, yes, elite level freshmen, but also freshmen that are not necessarily concerned about their individual statistics, which I feel like when you combine 3 5-star freshmen together, it's hard to get a mix of 3 that don't really care which one is the leading scorer, which one is the leading minutes getter, who's doing the lion's share of what. They just want to win games.
It's a very mature group. You can sense it from all of them when they speak, right? Like we talk about it with Peat all the time. I think we've heard a little bit less of Brayden Burries talking publicly, but that also could be a sign of maturity as well. He doesn't always need to be, putting himself out in the spotlight and whatnot. He's just concerned about playing basketball. And then Dwayne Aristode, I think everything that we've heard from him has been incredibly encouraging, just from a role and fit standpoint, personality wise, with this program. But continue, Kevin.
No, yeah, I'm with you. I think the maturity does speak to the fit. We talked about Carter Bryant and how if Dwayne Aristode can be a little bit more put together than Carter Bryant on day one, that bodes really well. But I think talking about the other side of that is important as well, right? If Dwayne Aristode comes in and he's just as raw as Carter Bryant was day one, that's okay, right? Mm-hmm. Because he does have that similar mindset that made Carter Bryant so special, right? He'd be willing to take a little bit less minutes if it means longer or better development in the longer run, right? And I think that I don't know how Tommy Lloyd does it, but finding these mature freshmen that are willing to take a bit of a, I won't say backseat, but a middle row in the minivan, if you will, right? So to help facilitate winning, I think that is truly special stuff. And also, we're talking a lot about this freshman class, right? They did ask Dwayne Aristode about what it's like to be a part of such a elite level class, but also what he's seen so far from his fellow freshmen. So here's Dwayne Aristode on his fellow freshmen.
Great group of guys. I'm very blessed. Very proud to be part of class that I can be with great players like them. Brayden, very smart guy, very good guard. Cole, a beast. Obviously you got Yvonne too, and Bryce upcoming. So, and CD also on Mobile. So I'm very blessed to be with those guys. First things first, I think they very athletic. Brayden has a full package that I haven't seen too much in top 100 because I was not on the same team as him. But now being in the same team as him, the man can actually do anything. He can get his teammate Toby. He's a very good playmaker. He can get a bucket whenever he wants to. He can shoot the ball very good. He can defend. He can actually do everything at 6'4", 6'5". So that's very outstanding. I didn't get the chance to see that top 100. Cole is a physical phenomenon. He's strong, rebounds the ball very good, very athletic. And I think people are underrating his mid-range game, like his shooting ability, to get to the cup, kind of facilitate, because he has that. He has that. Bryce, I haven't seen too much of Bryce, but Bryce is a very good shooter, athletic guy. I think he's a guy that still, he's going to get his flourish his powers, But I think he's also like Brady. He can do a lot, He can do basically anything. I think same with Mobile. Mobile can shoot the ball, very tall, rebound, fast, listens to the coach, and yeah.
I think when he was breaking down each of the elite level freshmen's play styles and what they bring to the game, what I thought of was how well Peat, Brayden Burries, and Dwayne Aristode's games can all mesh together
for sure
on the same roster, right? Any one given season. I think sometimes when you pair wings with a two guard kind of a mix, sometimes you have a little bit of people stepping on each other's toes. I think you saw this last year with Rutgers, for example, right? Where you have two guys at similar positions that both need the ball in their hands, and they sometimes are doing a little bit of a waltz and they lose their rhythm, right? I think that when you have a guy like Peat who can score from the mid-range, he can post up, he can face up, he can run a little bit of an offense if you really need him to, and then you combine that with an unselfish wing who's a freak athlete like Dwayne Aristode, who plays really good defense, who can step out and shoot the three a little bit. We're starting to see that as well. With a guy like Brayden Burries, who apparently can do a little bit of everything, kind of be like a little bit of a combo guard. I think that from what I've seen and heard, that his point guard skills have a little bit to develop, but as a two guard, as a combo guard, he is as elite of a combo guard freshman as they get.
Yeah.
And I think that mix of talent is incredible, and I can't wait to see how it plays out this upcoming year.
I thought the portion about Brayden Burries where he's talking about just his size in general, that's one thing that stuck out to me when I was watching or when I saw Brayden Burries in person at Section 7 is that dude is big, man. That's not like a prototypical like type of guard that you see. I feel like he's got that real NBA size to him. 6'4", 6'5", and you could really tell too. So if those combo guard skills translate, like if that handling ability and will translate at the college level, he's going to be able to get his shot, in my opinion, essentially at will. Like just a athletic, tall, 3-level scorer like that bodes really well for Brayden Burries, and I'm super excited to watch Brayden Burries next year. We all know about Peat. We've been talking about it for so long here at this point. I really do think we are talking about the DeAndre Ayton, Aaron Gordon level of one and done freshman here at Arizona, and you hear it in Dwayne Aristode's answer. It's about the physicality. It looks different. It looks like a blue chip prospect. You know what I mean? Like Aaron Gordon was also an elite rebounder in college from moment one because of his leaping ability, his athleticism, and just his, he's already that skillful of a player. Dwayne Aristode spoke to, Peat's rebounding ability in particular and just said that he really has that in his game. Like he's elite at that. I think that, we're going to, from a power forward positional standpoint, like going from Trey Townsend to Peat from a rebounding standpoint is like, we might as well be talking about different sports. Like we had a 6'4" power forward who couldn't jump, averaging 4 rebounds a game last year. We're about to have a 6'8", 6'9" power forward with a 40-inch vertical, nabbing 8-9 rebounds a game. Like it's going to be completely different in that regard. And Arizona was a good rebounding team last year. It's not like they were like bad at rebounding. I thought for actually the way that they played, like a transition style team, they were really, really good at rebounding, like about as good as you possibly can be. But now with Mo Krivas, still having Tobe Awaka, Peat, I think that's a strength just turned into like how you kill teams, like doubling them up on rebounds per game. You know what I mean? And so I'm excited for that aspect. And then, of course, I know you want to talk about Peat's mid-range ability and what Dwayne Aristode said right there at the end of that video.
I do, but you said something else that I really want to get to first, and that's you talked about Brayden Burries' physicality, right? And I think one thing that we've talked about with Caleb Love was his inability to consistently get to the free throw line to set up the rest of his offense.
Yeah,
right. It's like a fighter that refuses to use their jab. You have to start there. You have to see one go in, and then you can continue the rest of your, elite Caleb Love experience, 3-point shooting from the hash, whatever you want to do. But it starts with getting to the free throw line at times, right? Especially if your rhythm isn't there. I think that Brayden Burries' physicality is, the overall physicality of this team, we talked about it a lot today specifically as well, has been upped dramatically. And I think the play style is going to shift towards a more physical play style. That I'm not saying a slower play style, but I think if you can combine,
I think it'll be slower.
I'm saying I think it will be a little bit slower because it has to be. You can't be as up and fast and as physical. But
I think it'll be for Vasar. That alone just makes you slower. It's harder. It's hard to play that same speed when you switch those two guys because Vasar is so good at running the floor.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I also think that. But I guess what I'm saying is when you have the roster you have for Arizona basketball this upcoming year, you can mix and match a lot more than you could last year, though.
Yeah.
And I think you can speed it up, you can slow it down, you can beat teams up if you need to, you can get out and run with them if you need to. And I think that is where Brayden Burries is going to be able to help this team a lot. It's his physicality enables him to be a lot more versatile from the guard position in terms of being able to be out there doing all types of different lineups, right? If Tommy Lloyd wants to go super big, super physical, he can keep Brayden Burries out there, and Brayden Burries, based on his athletic frame, could hang with the bigger physical lineups. And so I do think that physicality is going to be huge for Arizona basketball this upcoming year as well. You mentioned that I did want to speak about Peat's mid-range game because the mid-range game is a dying art form that I want to see more of in the sport of basketball.
That opens up so much for this team. If I won't just say Peat, but if like Brayden Burries can too, because do you remember last year how like KJ Lewis was like kind of money on mid-range jumpers? Like like Jaden Bradley always, it seems like he's pretty efficient whenever he would take those like stop on a dime pull-ups, inside the arc. Like I think that given the way basketball has become and how above the rim I think Arizona is going to try to play next year, especially with Peat, like that area of the floor is probably going to be so opened up for the players that can make those shots. That could be game changing. If you can make those bunnies, like open mid-range jumpers, how can you defend Peat if he's going to be scoring, like hitting the open mid-ranges that you give him? You can't.
And especially when, like we're talking about, not to beat a dead horse, but with the physicality that Arizona is going to bring next year, it's going to make it easier to collapse the defense if they're worried about a post-up with Krivas or if they're worried about a post-up with Peat. And Peat can just take the ball up and face up and hit a mid-range jumper. And I think that is going to, it opens up so much for your offense, right? We talked last season on numerous post games about that damn floater that Caleb Love had last year for Arizona. And I mean, I guess throughout all his college career, the floater that Caleb Love has, I should say, it would be the best way to put it. But it opens up the offense completely because if Caleb Love is able to drive and collapse the defense and give them something else to think about besides, okay, I know he's going to the rim, he's driving, right? I think that it changes everything. It opens up your offense. It makes you a more dangerous offense. And knowing that Peat can hit that mid-range jumper, hearing Dwayne Aristode talk about it as well, I think that Jaden Bradley is going to, I would anticipate him to be a little bit more reliable of a shooter from all over the court next season, considering that is the one area of his game that truly needs work.
And that would be huge too.
Because I mean, that would make him incredibly dangerous. I mean, even if he can't step out and hit the three to a acceptable level or whatever you want to call that, being able to increase the mid-range efficiency for Jaden Bradley would be huge, especially because you have so many great screeners on this team. Like, getting downhill for Jaden Bradley should be the easiest it's ever been in his entire career because you have a guy like Krivas to run the pick and roll with. You have Tobe Awaka.
Yeah.
You have Peat. You could even run it with Aristode if you really wanted to.
You probably could run it with Karchenkov, to be honest, with how big that dude is.
Karchenkov, too. So I feel like Jaden Bradley, his game, he has a real opportunity to make it incredibly efficient and get downhill at will. And I'm excited to see that this year.
Well, with Peat in particular, like it's the way that he's going to be able to get downhill on teams. If you have to guard that mid-range jumper tighter, you're just going to foul him all game long, right? Because then he's just going to blow past you. You're going to be forced to foul or give up an easy bucket. Like, that's why it's so huge for Peat in particular, is because that athleticism is at such a elite level that I feel like, that's just going to, as Kevin tries to take a drink of his water with the lid on, high level stuff.
I'm just so locked in on what you're saying that you know what I'm saying? The rest of I'm using like all my brain to listen to what you're saying.
I'm so excited for this freshman class though. Here's the one thing in this just popped in my head. The only way I could see a guy like Peat like really like struggling in a game is if they're just going to let teams be so physical with him that, they're allowed to kind of hand check him a little bit when he's driving into the rim. And so I'm thinking of a guy like Joseph Tugler, where it's like, if they're just going to let Tugler by means of reputation just get away with murder on Peat and hand check him on his way to the basket. And like, I could foresee a world where a 6'8", 230 guy who's had 2 years of experience in a Kelvin Sampson defense could really get to a player like Peat. Other than that, I really think he's going to be automatic. And if he could face a challenge like Joseph Tugler and come out as like potential player of the game, Arizona wins. We're talking about like top 3 pick type of special. But I do think that the only way you're going to really be able to compete is by mixing that athleticism with an incredibly physical player like a Tugler, for example.
And I think, I was trying to think of other ways that off the top of my head you could immediately try to stop Peat. And I was thinking, well, he's a bigger guy. You could try to crowd him, make him make a choice and see if he makes the right one. But time and time again, Peat's able to facilitate out of double teams. We've seen it throughout his time, whether he was at Perry or in FIBA.
We'll have to see more of that at the college level for sure. But I agree with you. I think Peat has that I think he's such the high IQ player that he's ready and willing to make that pass at all times.
Yeah, and I think that if teams were to crowd Peat, like if Florida comes out and crowds Peat in game 1, I'm sure it's going to make him look a little bit more raw than maybe he really is. Excuse me. And I think that while it will be somewhat successful crowding Koa Peat, by the time the end of the year comes around, that will not be a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it's about finding ways that you can't develop past stopping him, right? Like he's going to develop out of, the trouble with double teams and the trouble with the late guy coming over and trying to help. Like he's going to develop out of that. But it's about finding ways, like you said, what are things that he just can't stop? A guy who's more physical, more athletic, you can't develop that. Well, I guess you can't. But you know what I mean? You can't learn your way around that. And I think that there are not many ways off the top of your head that you're going to attack Koa Peat. There just isn't, because he is so skilled and he is so high IQ and he does make the right decision more times than he doesn't. And so, yes, he's going to look like a freshman at times when they send doubles and maybe he has some turnovers there. But overall, I don't think that's going to be a real way to try to stop him next year at all.
It is interesting, like how early of a wake up call we have against Florida in the season. Like you're going to get to see exactly how these guys match up against elite level, like, high level athleticism team from the very get go. And I'm not saying that that's going to be like the end all be all on these players as prospects, but I do think that it at least is like, it'll show you a lot of what their potential is, in my opinion, in game one, seeing, kind of just the flash plays and how they respond to playing that elite athleticism level team. But one thing that we've talked about a lot, Kevin, is just how underrated guys like Brayden, Burries, and Dwayne Aristode are. And you see it in the way that Kevin and I just talked for 10 minutes about Koa Peat when we were trying to have a discussion about Dwayne Aristode.
To
right?
be fair.
No, he was talking about Koa Peat, but I just think that, that's like, obviously it absorbs a lot of our headspace.
Yes.
Because we think he's going to be the best player on next year's team. But with that being said, you do have kind of it does lead to guys like Dwayne Aristode and Brayden Burries going a little bit under the radar. Here's what Dwayne Aristode had to say about being underrated.
I know, I love it. I fully understand. I've been keeping receipts. Senior year, even though I've not been playing, I've been listening. So, but I'm not stressed. First thing first, I want to win. My game will do the talking, so I'm not very pressed about any attention I'm not getting or not. I have my own plan, I have my own way. So, yeah.
He's keeping receipts, and it's about this time that I feel really good that I've been an early Dwayne Aristode supporter, because I don't want to be one of those receipts that if he comes out and balls out this year, that he's posting up like, oh, so what happened to this kid from the Netherlands isn't going to be very much. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think that, I guess, because I don't think that there's a bunch of Dwayne Aristode haters out there. So the only receipts you would be keeping are like guys like me and you who have to do a show every day who maybe said a thing here and there that, he didn't agree with. Not to say that we've been going against Dwayne Aristode, because I think recently, especially, we've been pounding the drum that he's like really underrated. Like, why is this guy almost just not being talked about when he could be incredible? Like, it's possible he's really good from day one, but I do wonder exactly who those receipts he's keeping.
I almost think it's more of like maybe a Genesis Smith thing in a way of like maybe receipt by omission. You know what I mean? Like, like articles talking about
that could be us.
Arizona's loaded class and how Koa Peat and Brayden Burries figure into things. And he's like, oh, I think you forgot a guy. You know what I mean? Screenshot. You know what I mean? Remember that? But I don't know.
This is us, Kevin. As Dwayne Aristode is talking about the receipts that he's keeping.
I don't know. I feel like you look up Dwayne Aristode on Twitter and you scroll a little bit, you see my little meme of the hype 1 bar, talent like 8 bars. I'm like, this is Dwayne Aristode.
True.
So I feel like if he has any due diligence to his search, we're in the clear.
It's easier to see that kind of stuff than it is to search out our podcast
you gotta
and
search
listen
through
to
an hour and a
45
half.
minutes through the podcast to get to this point.
And if you're a D1 athlete, I hope you don't have time on your hands to be scrolling through weeks of podcasts.
But if you're an Arizona Wildcat and you're watching this program, we love you, we appreciate you, and thank you for watching this fine program. I apologize for my co-host Kevin's shot at you for calling you, saying you got nothing better to do on your hands than watch our show.
Let me clarify. What I'm really saying is
the people want to get informed. Damn it, Kevin!
It's like a good offense. It's like a mature incoming freshman. Like that you can get this podcast within the flow of your week because it's a part of your week. 5 days a week, right? 2 p.m. You know where to come find us. You find us within the flow of your week's offense. But I'm saying if you are an athlete and you're like, what did they say? And you're going to us for the wrong reasons, don't do it. Focus on your craft. That's all I'm saying.
We're not nasty enough to deserve that.
I mean, just look at what Kevin Durant is doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The guy's one of the all-time greats, and people are going to talk about him in 25 years. The kids watching like Paw Patrol right now are going to talk about Kevin Durant as just like a weird Twitter guy who is elite at basketball. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And it's just like, you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be doing that. So don't come at us.
Eric Ruby's been calling Kevin Durant the best player on the team all season long, and that it's not his fault. And then he's just looking for ways to go at his neck.
It's crazy. It is crazy. But yeah, stay off the internet if you don't have to be on the internet as much as you can. I shouldn't even say that. You can be on the internet, but touch grass every once in a while.
Thankfully,
you know what I mean?
we're just a bunch of sunshine pumpers on here. All we do is talk good about everybody.
Especially you.
Fanboys.
Especially you. I mean, I don't think you've ever said a negative word about anybody, especially a Japanese baseball player on the Dodgers. I don't think you've ever said a negative word.
That guy might be the GOAT. He's just a war criminal. That being said, if your name is Trey Townsend or Sam Olsen, this is the #1 podcast for you in America. We love you guys. We've never said bad words about either one of you, and we will continue to do so.
Call him Wiz Khalifa. That can... Every once in a while, Edgar gets in his bag with a joke in the comment, and it has me rolling.
Good to see Edgar here.
It is good to see Edgar.
Hope everybody's having a happy Monday. Kevin, we got a final break here that we're going to get into, and we're going to round out these Aristode clips as well as talk about a couple quick hitters here on the AZ Wildcats pod. Do not go anywhere and drop a like on this video.
And the Arizona Wildcats are going to be hitting the hardwood this winter, but you can have any kind of flooring you want in your home with Empire Flooring. And, maybe I did speak to DRF at the media day. Maybe I should have asked her if we can get Empire Flooring and McHale while you guys are redoing let's just get Empire in there. Let's just roll it out at the same time, because Empire is the highest quality flooring, the most beautiful flooring. We have it here in the GOAT Diana Taurasi Studio A. I'm looking at it now. It's inspirational. It's damn inspirational. I love this Empire Flooring. But why Empire Flooring? Because you don't want to go to some big box store where they don't have your best interest in mind. They're just trying to get you in, get your card information, and get you the hell out. Empire Flooring wants to make sure that you love the flooring that you are getting in your home. So pick the right flooring and the right floors for your space. See how it looks with your furniture, your house, your, je ne sais quoi, your feng shui, if you will, and maybe the importance, you know what I mean, of that feng shui is greater than anything else. So check out Empire Flooring. Schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. PHNX listeners can receive a $350 discount, $350 discount using promo code PHNX. Yes, you heard that right. $350 with promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. Visit Empire today/PHNX for full details.
Kevin, we love our friends at Empire today. One thing that I got to do last year that I loved and enjoyed so much was heading out to Phoenix Raceway to catch the championship weekend of NASCAR. And guys, we all know that here in Phoenix, Arizona, we are blessed with having some of the greatest sports events in the world, right? Whether it's Super Bowls, Final Fours, spring training annually, obviously, all kinds of things going on from a sports perspective here in Arizona. One thing that kind of goes under the radar with all of it, I'd say, is the Phoenix Raceway NASCAR Series Championship weekend that we have here every year. But there's a kick to that, Kevin. It has been here every year. From this point moving forward, after this year, it's going to be rotating around to different places. Whoa. So this is going to be the last time that you could see the championship weekend in Phoenix for a long while. And let me tell you, if you haven't experienced it, you have to go check it out. In the foothills of the Estrella Mountains, absolute beautiful scenery. It's going to be a little bit hot. Make sure you bring your sunscreen and some good water and stuff to hydrate, maybe some beers to hydrate as well. But you got to love a good little race weekend, guys. They got tents out there, all types of great food. We enjoyed our time when we went last year. It was so much fun. Filmed some content out there. State-of-the-art venue with a stunning backdrop of the Estrella Mountains, as I already said. Don't miss your chance to witness the NASCAR Championship weekend in person, coming to Phoenix Raceway October 31st through November 2nd. Tickets for Sunday's Cup Series Championship race sell out every single year, so make sure you guys move fast and get yours now before they're gone. And here's the kicker. NASCAR is taking championship weekend on the road starting in 2026. So as I said, this is your last chance to catch it in Phoenix for quite a while. So make sure you get those tickets now while you have the opportunity. Tickets and hospitality and upgrades are still available. Get yours now at the link in our show notes. Check out those show notes below. We got a link in there for those tickets. Make sure you hit up the NASCAR Series Championship weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. Kevin, I know you're a NASCAR guy. You're from Missouri.
Indeed. That is how my grandpa says it, as if there's not an I at the end of the word.
Is that how Tom says it?
Missouri. Yep.
Love that.
I've never understood
my
it,
guy.
but that's how it's said sometimes when you're from Missouri. But we have a couple more Dwayne Aristode clips, and I think there's really just one that I wanted to get to, mostly because it's just a fun one to end on. I really want to get to what they're saying about our programs, plural, on social media. But first, let's listen to Dwayne Aristode talk about how many damn languages he speaks, because he's truly a worldly. We talk about Tommy Lloyd being a man of the world, and Tommy Lloyd having his passport, stamped more than most guys, whatever you want to call it. Listen to how many damn languages Dwayne Aristode can speak.
A lot of people don't believe me, so I speak English, Spanish, Catalan, French, a little bit of German, and my mother's language. And my mother's language.
How did you learn all those?
So I played 3 years in Spain. I played in an area called Barcelona, so they wanted me to speak Catalan over there, because they're trying to be our own country. And French, back home, Ivory Coast, that's my own country. My parents are from, when I was young, I just picked it up. They always talk to each other in French, so I just picked it up easy. Germany is the neighboring country of Holland, so I just picked it up too in school. And Dutch, of course, because I'm from the Netherlands. So English, I always watched basketball documentaries when I was young. Michael Jordan, Kobe, so that's automatically, and yeah.
I mean,
always amazed by how many languages people that are born in Europe in particular speak. They really care about and put effort into that kind of stuff that we just do not do to that level in the United States.
But also, and we don't got to go into geography talk for too long. They're just it's a more compact area.
For sure.
You can take a train from one part of it to the other and do it in 2 days.
Yeah, he spoke about being in the Netherlands and bordering Germany. He just picked up some German because they border Germany. That's not how kids in Iowa are with Mexico. You know what I mean? They don't just pick up Spanish because the country's on the border. It's a proximity thing, as you say.
Yeah, no, the idea of that is hilarious. Being in Iowa and you're like, well, you never know. You're pretty close. You never know.
New nickname for Dwayne Aristode unlocked. What about the interpreter?
Ooh, we're gonna have to simmer on that. I kind of like it.
Something in that vein.
Yeah. The linguist. Nope, we're getting too far away from it. But anyway, let's wrap up this show with some quick Arizona news and notes hitters. Damon, you were scrolling social media and you found something interesting. Do you want to set that up for us?
Yeah, I did. There was a Big 12 wide receiver ranking came across my timeline. Was just interested to see. I always like to see some of the best, what the consensus is regarding some players in the Big 12. This list was interesting, though. I don't know how much I agree with it. Not because necessarily there wasn't a bunch of U of A players on it, but just because some of these players really haven't done all that much at the college level. Like Micah Hudson and Malik McClain. What have they done? What have they done? Is that all projection? I'm looking here. Malik McClain had 85 yards last season, Kevin, for ASU.
I mean, Marquee Malik McClain is what they call him.
He's a senior, so I think you hope he has a better year, and I think that passing game is going to be pretty solid. So you would think the floor is good, but top 10 after having 85 yards. He redshirted last year. Was it an injury, Totri? Huh? Was it an injury?
Why he redshirted? No.
So we're saying a guy that redshirted his junior year is a top 10 receiver in the conference. This list that I brought to the table. I'm not saying necessarily that he's going to have a bad year. It just feels like Micah Hudson and Malik McClain didn't do enough last year to be on the bottom end of this list.
I mean, I hear you. He turned a 3-yard hitch into a 60-yard touchdown today in practice. If that means anything.
It seems like he's having a good little spring in fall, start to fall camp here for the Arizona State Sun Devils. I'm not trying to go after the guy. I just think that top 10 seems a little bit rich. Jordan Tyson definitely belongs number 1. Obviously, Caleb Douglas can have a big year for Texas Tech. I don't necessarily am not sitting here being like, how is no Arizona player on this list? We talk about the receivers all the time. I almost think there's too many mouths to feed for any of the Arizona receivers to be top 10 on this list. But that didn't stop one of Arizona's receivers from finding it disrespectful, Kevin. And I'm insinuating that based off of this comment that I had to scroll down a couple spots for, as I'm one of the ones that liked it, as you can see there. Our guy Trey Spivey, he's taking exception. He thinks it's funny, Kevin. What do you feel? How do you feel about this?
I think this comment is hilarious. Not because I don't think that Trey Spivey could crack this list by the end of the year or whatever. I just think it's hilarious that he's going through this list that is, with all due respect to college football, the account, is probably more than likely a engagement bait kind of preseason post.
Yeah. Chase Roberts also really good. Josh Cameron's really good.
Yeah.
Like these are all really good players. I agree with most of the list. It's just the bottom end. I'll tell you what, I'm feeling better and better about Trey Spivey every day.
That's what I'm getting at. I'm like, I love that he's going through this post that is almost, to him, should be like baseless. He shouldn't care about this kind of a thing because it's not like a real rankings that like is anything tangible. And he's just going through it laughing, like, okay, noted. I'll remember this, even though it's something so small. And that's what gives me faith that Trey Spivey is going to be making a lot more catches that he did in practice on Saturdays and this upcoming year. But yeah, you showed me that and I was just laughing.
Yeah, it's a great response. If you guys didn't see it too, Trey Spivey absolutely mossed I forget who it was, a freshman defensive back in practice on day one. Noah Fafita threw him a beautiful ball. I don't know, man. I think Trey Spivey, from what we've heard too, it seems like from Justin Spears, he predicted that Trey Spivey is going to be that starting X receiver in that Tetairoa McMillan role. Not that he's going to see the target share that T-Mac did, but I do think that, if he is truly the starting X receiver, we could be seeing a really, really good season from Trey Spivey and one that maybe me and you, Kevin, didn't necessarily see coming this early on in Trey Spivey's career, just because we thought maybe he's a little bit more raw and he didn't play a whole lot at Kansas State last year. But that being said, even though he didn't play a whole lot at Kansas State last year, let me find you Trey Spivey's stats in regards to, the earlier conversation about some of the back end people on this list. Trey Spivey had a better year than the last two people on this ranking here. Trey Spivey had 160 yards and a touchdown. So why can't he be on the list if we're going completely based off projection?
That's probably why he's sitting there laughing.
Yeah.
And also, the guy sent one laughing emoji. I brought that up pre-show. I mean, I don't know if I'm, digging too much into it, but that's borderline psychotic. One laugh. I always almost default send 3.
Yeah.
That's just by default. And my face looks like this the whole time.
Yeah, one is.
I feel like he actually Joker laughed at that, put one emoji, and then sent it. I feel like he saw that and went, comment, send, scroll again, try to find the next one. You know what I mean?
I almost felt like it was like a browse down like this, like like an angry. Put my angry eyebrows on.
It could have been. Yeah, it could have been an angry one. It could have been. But yeah, no, he can certainly crack that end of that list by this. His skill set is so, there's a high potential there. The ceiling is so high for his skill set and his level of athleticism. It's about putting all the tools together at the same time. And hopefully Bobby Wade can help him do that this upcoming year. We know that Bobby Wade knows a thing or two about that. So if there's a better guy to pair him with, I haven't seen it.
Speaking of Bobby Wade, Kevin, why don't we just transition it straight into that? Bobby Wade had a little bit of a FaceTime situation yesterday in the wide receiver room with the Arizona Wildcats. He called up none other than our sweet baby boy, Tetairoa McMillan, T-Mac, and gave him a call. First off, was checking in on him, was just like, how you doing? How they treating you over there? And T-Mac, they asked T-Mac, they still making you, they got like the spam and eggs, like they making you your food right. And T-Mac, you could tell too, like just a piece of his heart just ripped out of him. He goes, nah, they got me on a diet plan now.
Well, he sounded like, he said it in a way of like, I've changed my ways, but maybe not, a little reluctantly. You know what I mean?
Damn it. Spam's so good too. I get it.
Fire. Spam's really fire. And also, real quick on the spam topic, I understand the attachment to just the original spam. I tried to buy like reduced sodium spam in the store the other day.
Not it.
I mean, my girlfriend, I think, looked at me like I had 3 heads. Like, what are you doing? Getting reduced sodium spam? Are you stupid? What are you doing? You only get the original spam. So yeah, taking T-Mac away from his spam and eggs, unbelievable. And you continue. The call was not about spam.
No, it wasn't. They then brought Dr. Desiree Reed Francois on, friend of the program, no big deal. Also Brent Brennan, another friend of the program. And Brent Brennan just told them how proud of him he is and how they miss him every day. Dr. Desiree took the phone and then went on to tell T-Mac that he will be in the Arizona Ring of Honor at the start of next season, I believe. So T-Mac not wasting any time. One season gone, one season already on the Ring of Honor. Kevin, you love to see it for one of the greatest players in program history here, and no one deserves it more than T-Mac. Like they said in those videos. If you didn't check it out, go look on the Arizona football Twitter account. It's great stuff, man. Like seriously, T-Mac, it just seems like the absolute nicest dude in the world. I've had the pleasure of speaking with him once or twice, and he's always been very kind, but it's a little bit different. I just feel like when you're in the room with him and he's truly like one of your brothers, he probably is just the absolute best dude.
Yeah, August 30th against Hawaii, the 51st and 52nd members of the Ring of Honor, Tetairoa McMillan and U of A cornerback Randy Robbins will be formally inducted into that Ring of Honor against Hawaii. And also, you said a full season gone. It hasn't even been like a full summer that he's been gone. He's been gone for like weeks. And
well, he still shows up, so it's impossible to say a full summer of him gone. He's hanging out in Tucson.
Yeah, he's just hanging out. And on the note of Arizona Wildcats doing things in the NFL, Tyler Loop has been hitting from 60 in practice. And I mean,
he won the job.
The job is his.
No, they cut the other guy.
Yeah, the job is his. Like, it's locked, it's Sharpied, it's over. And
as we all knew, Tyler Loop is the next Justin Tucker on the field.
Yeah.
On the field.
Yeah, we can just say he's the next elite NFL kicker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. That's the thing.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky
That's the
Bobby.
funny thing about Tyler Loop is like they couldn't have picked the more opposite personality. And I'm not to say like I know what Justin Tucker's like, but like Tyler Loop is legitimately like maybe the nicest person on earth. So soft spoken, like just seems like a great dude. Seems like the easiest guy to get along with. Shout out Tyler Loop, and we wish him nothing but the best. We're gonna try to get him on and see if we could talk to him about kind of just how training camp has gone for him and all of the above. But shout out Tyler Loop, Ravens starting kicker going into next year. And yeah, awesome stuff.
Yeah, and we do have some news in the NCAA tournament side of things, but I think I want to save that for tomorrow because I really want to talk about keeping the field at damn 68 for as long as possible. We must hold the line.
You know what?
Damon says.
Let's subtract down to 64.
Yeah.
I like
Go the other way.
I like the games, the playing games just for betting reasons, but from a tournament standpoint, stupid as hell, right?
No, yeah, and like I said, we're gonna get more into it tomorrow. But like
schools like ASU get to claim tournament appearances after they only ever make the first four and lose in it all the time, and it's just like no, that's not how the NCAA tournament works. You make the tournament when you're in the 64 team field, which is a bracket of 16 teams in each region, and god damn it, it's making me angry again thinking about it, Kevin. Stop adding teams.
That's
what
I'm
unnecessary.
saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why I was like, we gotta save it for tomorrow because you and I are gonna go a whole 15 minutes about that and scream our head offs about it because it's stupid. You don't want teams that don't deserve it in the tournament because it makes it mean less. And on that note, that is it for me today. I don't know if Damon's got anything else for you guys, but Damon, are we getting out of here?
We are getting out of here. Kevin, appreciate everybody for the birthday wishes this weekend. Another year older, feeling like another year closer to death, brother.
I mean, every second that passes, brother.
Just getting dark at the end
every
of the
second
show.
that passes, but it makes every second that the much more valuable because you only get one life, right?
Isn't that a fact? And that's why I keep Kevin Thomas around because he is my muse when it comes to bringing positivity into my life. Unless it's Monday morning and he just got here, otherwise he's going to give you the silent treatment because he doesn't want to talk to nobody.
I don't think I spoke today for the first hour I was in the office. I was
joking with Derek.
Enjoying my coffee, and I'm just letting everybody else scream and yell around me.
I was setting up, because I tried to talk to you a couple of times, and I was setting up D-backs over here. And the second I walked out the office, you were literally like holding court. Like it sounded like you were like asking people for their opinions. Like you were like trying to get everybody else involved. The second I walked out of the office and I was
the coffee hit.
I was like, damn.
The coffee finally hit.
Bro was just he doesn't want to talk to me outside my podcast I have with him. But it's all good. That's all good. We could pretend to be friends on this show and then go back to hating each other after it's over, Kevin. He is the great, the benevolent, the wonderful, the amazing Mr. Kevin Thomas.
Wow.
Everybody, you can follow him at KevoPost, KEVOPOSTS. You can follow me at Damon Dog, that's DAWG, and you can follow us at PHNX_Wildcats on all socials. Make sure you throw our Instagram a follow. Growing that Instagram. Definitely love to see that happen. Posting some really good content from there. So if you're an Arizona Wildcats fan and you primarily live on Instagram, go follow PHNX_Wildcats. That's going to do it for me and Kevin today. We'll be back on a Tuesday at 2 p.m. talking a little bit about that field of 68, as well as anything else that might happen in the world of Arizona Wildcats. But until then, love you guys. Appreciate everybody. And peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. Happy Monday.
We all silly like the mayor.